New York City has welcomed a brand new Supertall Skyscraper. And guess what? It's not where you might expect it to be. While Manhattan has long been the star with its famous landmarks and towering buildings, Brooklyn is stepping into the spotlight.
Brooklyn has a new skyscraper, forever changing the borough's skyline.
This new skyscraper has quickly become one of the most prominent features on the Brooklyn skyline. Why the sudden change? Well, in Manhattan, the cost of living has skyrocketed, and available land is disappearing fast. So, Brooklyn, with its vibrant energy, is having a modern revival. Back in 2004, the neighborhood was rezoned, allowing for larger buildings. Since then, developers, businesses, and residents have all been drawn to Brooklyn like magnets. They're all converging on a remarkable project, a landmark tower that's set to transform the entire neighborhood. This new skyscraper is a bit like the Empire State Building of Brooklyn. It stands out with its striking black stainless steel, copper, and bronze facade. What's even cooler is that it incorporates a 115-year-old bank that was already on the site. Today, let's dive into the details of this exciting mega project and uncover all its fascinating aspects.
Brooklyn is just such an amazing, rich cultural place.
To truly grasp why a skyscraper of this size is appearing in Brooklyn instead of Manhattan, we need to take a little journey through the history of these two boroughs. Brooklyn had its beginnings as an independent city back in the 17th century. It was often seen as the twin of New York City, but there was a big obstacle separating the two. The only way to get from one to the other was by boat. So, everyday connections between the two were quite limited. It all changed in 1883 when the Brooklyn Bridge was opened. This grand bridge brought calls for the merger of the two cities, along with the towns around them. The goal was to ensure that New York remained the biggest and most significant city in the United States. Especially with the rapid growth of a competing city, Chicago. In 1898, New York City, which included the Bronx at that time, joined hands with Brooklyn, Western Queens County, and Staten Island to create the 5 boroughs we now know as New York City. With the completion of the Williamsburg Bridge, subway lines, and the Manhattan Bridge, Brooklyn and Manhattan got even closer. This allowed Midtown and downtown Manhattan to access a larger workforce, and it solidified Manhattan as the main commercial center of the city. Despite this, Brooklyn kept its own downtown core. And with most commercial investments going into Manhattan, it remained a civic center with mostly low-rise businesses for almost a century. However, as the cost of living in Manhattan continued to soar, Brooklyn became a magnet for those seeking something Manhattan couldn't offer: space. Although gentrification had been happening gradually since the 1960s, it wasn't until 2004, when Brooklyn's downtown was rezoned to allow for denser housing, that things really changed. With an influx of residents and the rise of high-rise buildings, Brooklyn's downtown transformed into a vibrant community where people could live, work, and have fun while staying close to Manhattan. This wave of change extended to neighboring areas, including Brooklyn Heights, Dumbo, and Williamsburg, offering more affordable rents and a clear contrast to Manhattan's strictly commercial areas. Brooklyn started to draw in entrepreneurs and startups. It even blossomed into a thriving tech hub. By 2013, Dumbo was home to a quarter of all tech firms based in New York. With more than $9 billion in private investment, Brooklyn became one of the most sought-after and trendy parts of the city. Its rapid ascent in prominence paved the way for plans to construct a landmark tower that would add Brooklyn to the world-famous skyline. Standing at 335 meters, 9 DeKalb Avenue will soar over 110 meters higher than Brooklyn's next tallest skyscraper. It's going to dominate the borough's skyline from all angles. Unlike the world's skinniest skyscraper, which, due to its small base, could only provide fancy, upscale homes, 9 DeKalb Avenue will be a lot more than that. It's going to have shops, offices, and even a gym, alongside 575 apartments. What's cool is that 20% of these apartments will be available at affordable rents. They've done something really neat with the Dime Savings Bank.
Dime Savings Bank of Brooklyn was the 3rd largest savings bank in the world,
Incorporating it into the base of the 9 DeKalb Avenue Tower. The tower's unique shape tips its hat to the bank's hexagonal floor plan. The way the building steps back in a series of terraces brings to mind the style made famous by many of the city's skyscrapers back in the 1930s. The building will be covered in bronze, stainless steel, and stone, giving it a distinctive look. With its generous triangular site, the tower is set back from Albee Square. This clever design move allows the Dime Savings Bank to stay prominent on the city streets, and it even creates a rooftop space for the folks living there. Construction got underway in the middle of 2018, and just when the tower was starting to rise from the ground in March 2020, the world went into an economic slowdown. A lot of folks worried about an economic downturn, and some even feared that 9 DeKalb might be a casualty of the recession. Despite all the uncertainty, the builders kept at it.
The tower will be home to 550 residences, a combination of for-sale condos.
By the end of 2020, workers were busy putting up the outer shell, and now, the building is more than halfway up. Even though the Brooklyn Tower stands quite a distance away from Brooklyn's very first skyscraper, it holds a special place in the city's skyline. It's not just any tall building, it's the first one that truly competes with the iconic structures of New York City. Being the first super tall building outside of Manhattan, it's expected to inspire similar projects in Brooklyn. This is especially important as the high cost of living in Manhattan is pushing many people to consider living outside the island. These new projects won't just benefit the developers. They'll also be beneficial for businesses and the people living in downtown Brooklyn, a neighborhood that truly deserves to thrive. There's a deep sense of pride that comes with Brooklyn making its mark on New York City's skyscape. This new tower isn't just a building, it's reshaping the skyline of budding Brooklyn, and its impact will be felt for years to come. New York City is known for never sleeping, always changing, always evolving, and always offering something new. It looks like 9 DeKalb Avenue is a part of that ongoing story now. Thanks for watching the video, and if you found it informative, please like and subscribe to Blueprint Journeys for similar content. We look forward to sharing more knowledge with you in the future. Until then, take care.